Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Funky Monkey MMA.
Welcome to another edition of Funky Monkey MMA. I'm your co-host, Fred Rodriguez, here with my buddy Rob. What's up, Rob Mead?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Not too bad. Today on the show, we're going to have Todd the Bulldog Brown. If you're from the Midwest, you know who Todd is. If you don't, get some YouTube video going. Check out his highlight reel. Got all kinds of knockouts. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he just knocked out Sean Salmon, a former UFC competitor, in April. So we've got Todd on the air. What's up, Todd?
What's up, Freddie? How you doing, man?
Not too bad, man. Good to have you on the air.
Appreciate it.
No problem. So, who are you knocking out next?
Well, that's to be determined right now. Our next show here in South Bend is October 12th. If there's some Indiana boys who want to take a shot, then they can Facebook me or hit the MFL, Michiana Fight League site up, and we'll be picking. We've got a couple of negotiations going on right now, but nothing concrete. So. Right on.
So your next show, the MFL, is at Kovalevsky Stadium, right? That's coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's August 23rd. That's an all-amateur card. So we've got a bunch of the Bulldog fighters fighting that night, I think like 10 of them. And then our October show is a Pro-Am, so we'll have some of the amateurs that are fighting in August are turning pro for the October show, so that should be fun.
Yeah, those shows at Kovalevsky Stadium are good. That stadium is awesome. I've taken a couple of my guys over. I'm actually undefeated in the MFL, just have to say that.
I know you are, man. We can't beat your guys. I don't know what's going on.
We know how to run real well.
Right, yeah.
But, those are awesome, man. That stadium is awesome when you got a big crowd out there and this cage in the middle of a baseball diamond. It's a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, we put it right at home plate, man, so everybody in the stands can see and hear really well. Plus, they've got the Jumbotron out there, so all the replays are on the big screen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good deal, man. You know, the last show I saw in South Bend besides Kovalevsky was at the Bendix Room. Love that venue, man. That's the place.
Yeah, that gets loud in there, man. The problem with that room is it only holds 800, but I tell you what, man, it gets rocking in that place, and you feel like you're right in the cage with the fighters, so that's pretty cool. I fought in there a couple times, and it was pretty. And I fought Ron Fields in there, matter of fact.
Yeah, I was a judge for that fight. No comment.
What do you mean, man? I was angry. That guy hit me kind of hard, you know?
Yeah, that was a good fight, man. In the first round, if I'm not mistaken, he might have dropped you in the first round.
Oh, no, he dropped me. No, he hit me. I'm telling you, man, that guy hit me harder than anybody I've ever been hit by. I mean, he stroked me pretty good. So that turned my switch on there.
You know what? It was like that, too. And I remember after you destroyed him, I remember what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
The way you acted afterwards, I was like, damn, Todd was excited.
Yeah, I was a little hot. Because I was mounted punching him, and he kind of tapped on my arm, so I stopped punching him, and he punched me in the face from the bottom. So I was like, oh. So then I just kept punching, and the ref had to drag me off, and it was interesting.
Yeah, that was a fun night. That was a good time.
You know, the funniest thing about that fight is that I thought he was smiling at me. Like every time I hit him, I thought he was smiling at me. So I was getting pissed off, and I find out after the fight that in the first round I broke his jaw, and he was just clenching his teeth. And I thought the whole time he was smiling at me, you know. So I was getting more and more angry, and this guy's just trying to keep his jaw together, you know.
That's awesome. That's pretty funny.
He's a tough dude, though, man.
Go ahead. So I'm watching the fights this weekend, and I see Jose Aldo fighting the Zombie, and Zombie's arm comes out of socket. And, of course, the first thing I think of is, Todd would have hit him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, we had that happen with Stevie Lopez. When Steve Lopez fought Jim Miller, Steve was fighting out of my gym, and he swung at Steve, and his whole arm came out of socket, man, and that was the end of that. So.
Yeah, it's no fun, man. I've had reconstructive shoulder surgery, and 2 years later, I still am useless with it. So I don't want to feel that pain at all.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad deal.
So what do you got next, man? What's on your calendar? What's your plans for 2013?
Well, I'm going to fight in October here. I'm still working with World Series of Fighting. I'm trying to get something set up with them. They seem to like ex-UFC guys, so I'm working on that. And I've got my agent working on some stuff in South Africa as well. So, and I'd like to travel a little bit, and have my vacation paid for while I get to beat someone up.
Yeah, that's kind of a dream vacation, man. Get to hit people and look at some lions and giraffes.
Exactly, man. Maybe hit Japan, hit Australia. So I'm looking to travel a little bit, and it just depends because there's when you go out of the country, like when I went and fought Patrick Cote in Canada, you got to be careful because there's a lot of shady stuff that goes down.
You won that fight, man. You won that fight, I'm telling you. I watched that fight. They had it on MMA Core. I think it was about a week after you fought. Somebody hit me up with a message and said, Todd's fight's on. I watched that fight, and I didn't know the result of the fight at that time. Alan hadn't told me. What's up, Alan? He hadn't told me what was up. I watched that fight, and I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised, man, for sure. I was definitely surprised. So, but it is what it is, and I ran out of. It's the first time I fought at 85, and I ran out of gas a little bit at the last round, and he definitely won the last round, but I thought I had two in the book, and it just didn't work out that way.
Right on. So what are you going to fight at now? Are you going to be at 185 or are you going to be at 205?
No, I'm finishing at 205. I'm just going to continue down that road. At my age, what am I, 28, 29 years old? So, I'm just going to finish it out at 205.
29. All right, that makes me 30. I'm going to accept that.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been doing a lot of. Yeah.
If you could have a rematch with anyone that you fought, who would it be?
Igor for sure. Yeah, I would have.
I don't know.
I just, I had a plan in that fight, and I went away from my game plan, and I got caught with a kick and cut me open, and things went downhill, and I tried to answer the bell, and I couldn't see anything, so it was frustrating, but I'd like that fight back if. It's the only fight I've ever been finished. The only fight that I didn't, go to the bell to the end. So that one kind of haunts me. But everything else, every other fight I'm pretty happy with. I mean, there's little things you can change, but I can say that everybody that I fought, felt me, and that's the important thing to me.
No doubt. Watching your highlight reel on YouTube today, in my mind, I'm an honorary Bulldog. That's what I always tell Travis when he calls me. He hasn't sent me the sweatshirt I requested yet. But
right.
Watching that highlight reel video, I'm like, nobody's volunteering to fight you. I know of a couple of people up here in Fort Wayne who, have a nice record and have some nice stuff going on, but every time I mention that fight, for some reason it just doesn't happen.
Well, it's one of those things where, I'm good enough everywhere that it's a scary fight to take. Not that I can beat everybody, and there's a lot of people that would beat me, but if we're on the ground, I'm happy to be there. If we're standing, I'm happy to be there. There's not a whole lot of places where I'm weak. And, I'm for sure going to hit you in the mouth, and I'm for sure going to kick you, and I'm for sure going to, deal with some things on the ground and put you in some positions where I can win. And, then the fight gods have to make that decision on who gets the W.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I've seen you win everywhere. I think I've seen you win by submission. I've seen you win by knockout. I've seen you win by decision. So, yeah, I don't see anybody volunteering for that fight. I'm hoping so. What's really funny is my phone is blowing up right now from Fort Wayne. I wonder who's calling me.
Right. You know what? It's one of those things where, I'm actually, my actual age is 42. So, I'm fighting for fun now. I'm not fighting to win a world championship. I'm fighting for fun, and so I take fights that interest me. And like with Sean Semin, he at the highest level of wrestling that he is, and that's always been my thing is wrestlers that want to take me down. So I wanted that fight. I wanted to see how it would be with a high level wrestler, and it is what it is. So.
Yeah, that was a really good fight for you, man. I like that body shot you threw was deadly in that fight.
Yeah, I think. Well, actually, he retired, so that's good. I like to hit people so hard they retire. That's a good deal.
That's a big punch. So Rob liked to ask this question, but I'm going to steal it from him this time. You're done training. You're done fighting. You just made weight. You're done. The fight's over. What's the first thing you're going to eat?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a pizza guy, man.
So you're going to go get some Bruno's.
I'm pizza 100%. So anytime I get a day off or get a moment to eat, I'm eating pizza. So.
Yeah, there's this place in South Bend that Alan and your dad hooked me up with one night, Bruno's, where the slices are as big as my head.
Oh yeah, that's the ticket right there, man.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, Alan actually gave me some pizza in Indy the other day, and I was angry with him for I'm kind of still angry with him because he gave me some crappy pizza and I didn't like it. So.
He's always bragging about his culinary expertise.
Nah, he made a mistake, man, because there's a pizza place that he took me to before that was awesome, and then he said, no, let's get this one, and it was horrid. So. For
those of you who don't know, we're talking about our mutual friend, Alan Stockman. He owns Carlton Gracie Jr. Jiu-Jitsu in Indianapolis, and we're making fun of him, and he's going to kill me for it.
Yep, great guy, good guy to train with.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. So, Kovalevsky Stadium in October, you're going to fight on that card. What do you want people to think about you when you're done? What's your legacy in the fight game?
Man, that's a good question. I tell you what, Alan, as you know, used to matchmake for me when I was coming up before I fought in the UFC, and it was always the same for me. I wanted him to go find me the toughest guys he could find, and a lot of times it was short notice, and I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. It's just that's the deal, And when I fight, I'm going to make sure that they respect me after the bells ring, So, I'm not the best fighter to ever live, but I'll be in there till the end. So, that's what I want people to understand. And plus, I started late. I've been doing martial arts basically forever, but MMA fighting, I didn't have my first MMA fight till after I was 30. So, fought in the UFC for the first time when I was 38. So, you can still do this sport even if you put your mind to it, even if you're a little older, Yeah,
I can definitely see that. So, what do you do outside of the ring? When you're not cool and eating pizza?
Well, I have a gym that I run, Midwest Martial Arts, full time. We teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA. So that takes up a large portion of my time, and then of course my family. I've got a wife, 4 kids. I'm sending one to college next week, so it's a full schedule, my brother.
I hear you, man. I got one at Purdue right now.
Full schedule. I've got, this year I've got my boy playing middle school football, my daughter playing varsity volleyball. I mean, I'm going, man, 24/7. So
right on. You mentioned your school in Osceola. Well, how can people get a hold of you? How can they get on, start training with you?
you can go to Michiana. That's MICHIANA.com. That's our website.
And
I'll be back in a minute. Or they can call me at 574-966-5311. That's our phone number here.
Right on. So if you're out in the Michiana area, that's where you want to go train at. I tell my boys every time somebody says, hey, I want to start in MMA, I always try to send them and go, well, go train with Todd. If you survive, come back and see me.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we're known on the MMA side for having a really, really rough training schedule. And, I just believe that our guys should face, the worst things in their life here with their family in the gym. And when they go fight, that should be the easy part. And, it's worked out pretty well for us. I mean, we have when my guys go and fight, it's, that they win a lot. They don't win all the time, but they win a lot. And if they don't win, they perform at a high level. And that's all I can ask. And unfortunately, I know you've seen this, Freddie, down south, the Indy area, Kokomo, they don't really understand and respect the North up here in the North and the fighters that we have up here. And so when you see these rankings and everything, you don't see, the amateur guys up here that should be on that list. And so, I'm trying to get that changed. I'm trying to get those guys to come on up here and try their luck with some Bulldogs at the Michiana Fight League.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That is for sure. You see all those rankings with everybody in Indianapolis. I brought one of my guys down to your show. We had some good showings. Then we went to Indianapolis, and they didn't want to give him anybody to fight. They brought out this guy. I'm not mentioning any names. They brought this guy and said, hey, fight this guy. And we finished him in 18 seconds. And I'm like, next? You better recognize that we train here.
Well, and part of that is, just to on a bigger scale, guy puts on Facebook these rankings for the best pros at each weight class, and he's got 205 with a question mark, and it's like, really? Who? You really don't know?
Right.
So. There's things like that when you're in Indy and you don't see what goes on up here, you don't have any idea. Now, that's not to say that, Holbrook, tough dude, just turned pro. There's some good guys down in Indy, no doubt. But I just think that up here, up north, we don't get the recognition and respect that we should.
Why do you think that is? Just because of the distance, geography?
Well, I think so. I think Indy is more in tune with the middle of the state, and they kind of look at us like almost Chicago. We're just so far away. There's so much dead space between us and them. But it's really not that far, even though 31 is the worst road in the United States. It's really not that far.
No, it's a terrible way to go back and forth, and if you're in the car with Alan, it's even worse.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Yeah, I've been in the car with that dude while he was driving down 30, playing a first-person shooter on his phone going 80 miles an hour. By the way, he was driving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that does not surprise me.
No, not at all. So how'd you get into MMA? How'd you go from traditional martial arts to mixed martial arts?
Well, I boxed as a kid. When I went in the Marine Corps, I started Thai boxing. I did this little stint in Taekwondo and all that good stuff too. But, boxing and Thai boxing were more my style, more physical. And, when I came back from the Marine Corps, I saw some people doing some low-level MMA fights. I started boxing, doing some boxing matches, and couple of Thai boxing matches when I could find them. And then I met a guy who was doing some MMA, and I was like, didn't know what that jiu-jitsu stuff was. So I had to figure that out real quick. And, started fighting, man. Most of my early fights were knockouts, and I didn't have to really work too hard. But, as I started to compete better and better, I had to learn some jiu-jitsu, and then I started using a lot of jiu-jitsu instead of just banging people's heads. So, it's kind of been just a process.
Very cool. So you fought all over the world. You've done everything going to the UFC. What's your favorite crowd to fight in front of?
Man, even though there's a lot of, in all actuality, there's probably more pressure me fighting at home here than there is if I travel and fight in the UFC, It's just, my school's here, my students are there, everybody's there, and typically there's a film crew and a TV and whatever. So, it's a lot of pressure fighting here, but it's also, very rewarding because everybody here, is very supportive. And, of course, you have your haters, but, hey, I like to fight in front of them too,
I always like to be the bad guy. I always loved it when they booed me.
I tell you what, man, the most hostile environment was up with Cote. When I fought up there in his hometown, 12,000 people in the Pepsi Arena, man, every single one of those people hated me, especially after our fight. We had a fight at the weigh-in. So, yeah, they hated me, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
At least all the cursing was in French, so I really didn't know what they were saying. But the faces, were very mean.
You didn't know what they were talking about. That's hilarious. I remember that, man. That pre-fight, that weigh-in fight was everywhere.
Oh, yeah. 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 So I wanted to ask you, when it's 10 minutes before you're walking out to the fight, what's going through your head in that moment?
You know what? It's, I don't mind. 10 minutes is good to go, man. I'm more, the week before, just dealing with all the, did I prepare right? How's my weight cut gonna go? But after I make weight, then I'm ready to rock, man. I'm just waiting for that cage door to shut because, especially at my age, I got to work hard, man. I gotta do a lot of stuff that a 25-year-old kid doesn't have to do to stay in shape, to stay healthy, to make sure that I'm not injured. So I'm waiting to get it on, man. By that point.
Absolutely.
So do you hear your crowd? Do you hear your wife in the stands and your kids? I know your kids are always there. They beat me up last time I was.
No, I didn't. One time I heard my wife in the crowd, and that was, I don't know if you remember Bourbon Street. You remember Bourbon Street fights?
Yep.
Up in Illinois, up in Chicago.
Yeah.
And there was probably 500 to 600 that could get in that venue. And I remember when I was fighting Munson up there, and she was giving me the business, man, telling me what to do, and I could hear that. But for the most part, I can't. I'm in a zone, man. I don't hear anything. I mean, when the fight starts to finish and the crowd goes crazy, then yeah, you hear some of that kind of juices you up.
Absolutely. We only have a few more minutes left, man. I'm going to give you the floor. You want to thank some sponsors, teammates, whatever you want to do. It's all yours.
Yeah, for sure, man. I want to just throw out a couple names for, up-and-coming guys to watch. Ricky Miller at 170, Tyler Huffnagel at 205. These are all amateur guys that are coming up the ladder, going to turn pro pretty soon. Chase Davis at 135. Jared Brooks at 125. He's going to be a little killer. He's actually turning pro in October, his first pro fight. These are just some of the guys. Lance Wright, been fighting, I think he's 5-0 so far as an amateur. So just keep an eye out for these guys. They come in here and bleed and sweat every day. Travis Smith is actually going to turn pro here shortly, at 185 pounds, which is a lot lower than what he's ever fought. Some guys to watch. And then as far as our sponsors, I just want to thank Dr. Trevor Neal, Strength Haven, Cruiser Harley Davidson, Tilty Kilt, BioLife. So I just want to throw some thanks to them out there for sponsoring our fights and helping our guys.
Right on. Anybody you want to call out?
Hey man, if you're 205 and you're in the state and you want a stepping stone to see if you're at that level, then come get some. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm more than willing to let you see if you're good enough with me. It's real simple.
Right on, man. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks, guys, for the time.
Thanks, Todd. Have a good day, man.
All right, guys. See ya. Bye.
If you guys haven't seen him, if you're in the Midwest and you have a chance to get out to Kovalevsky Stadium in August, go out and check out that amateur fight card he has there. It's in a minor league baseball stadium, and it's a great crowd, great stadium to watch. In October, Todd's going to be fighting somebody. I don't know who it is, but it'll be a great fight. When he comes out, it's, stand toe-to-toe, let's bang, find out what you can do. And, oh, by the way, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt as well. So if that doesn't work out, you're going to the ground, man. It's a good fight. It's a good show to see. Can't wait to see the Bulldogs fight again.
Absolutely. That's going to be a hell of a fight, man.
Yeah, it's going to be, man. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. I'll let you thank Hype, but I'm going to plug KOBKfighter.com. Take a look at KOBKfighter.com. We got $10 T-shirts on there. We have some shorts that have gi material in them. Anybody who's doing grappling tournaments, check out those shorts, man. They add friction. It's easier to pull off arm bars and triangles with these shorts on. And they're $45. You just go to Walmart and buy yourself a pair of shorts. You're going to pay the same price for a Walmart pair of shorts as you're going to pay for our originally designed KOBK gi shorts. Got a lot of other cool gear on there, man. It's a real nice site. Check it out.
Absolutely. Awesome gear, man. Also, we wanted to give a shout-out to Hype Extreme Wear. Hype, helping you prepare every day. You can check them out on Facebook, Twitter, or on their website over at hypeextreme.com. They got some awesome gear as well. And also, while you're at it, go ahead and like us on Facebook as well over at facebook.com/The Funky Monkey MMA. Follow us on Twitter over at Funky Monkey MMA. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Talk, and we are on YouTube as well. If you would like to sponsor the Funky Monkey, you can email us at funkymonkeymma@gmail.com. This is another edition of Funky Monkey MMA Radio. I'm Rob Mead.
I'm Fred Rodriguez.
We're out. Have a great one.
You're listening to Funky Monkey MMA.